Hey everyone, Ace of Clay here, and welcome to another thrift store transformation, where I take an object from the thrift store and transform it into something completely different, and hopefully much cooler. In this one, I'll be taking this giraffe figurine and turning it into a dragon. So, if you want to see how I do it, then keep on watching. Alright, now before I start the video, I just want to take a second to thank you guys so much for all the love on my last thrift store transformation where I turned the duck into the anglerfish. I think right now it's at like 140, 150,000 views, and that's just absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for all of that. I'm so glad you guys like watching me do what I do, and I hope you like this video just as much. So without further ado, let's turn this giraffe into a dragon. Alright, let's start this thing. First thing I'm going to do is bulk out the area in between the giraffe's legs. I decided, given the composition of the giraffe, that I want to make this a dragon laying on a rock. So I just filled in all that empty space with aluminum foil, and I'm taping it all together with masking tape. And then the next step, of course, is to cover the whole thing with polymer clay. Super Sculpty beige to be exact. And I rolled this through my pasta maker so that it's nice and even, and then the aluminum foil kind of helps me with this rock texture that I'm creating with my thumbs, like that. And I'm just working the clay, getting it to look as much like rock as I can, making little crevices and all that good stuff. And this ended up working a lot better than I thought it was going to, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. And I did this whole part with just my thumbs. I didn't really use any tools until now. Now I'm just giving it a light texture on the top using this facial scrub brush, and I'm just going over the whole surface with it. Now it's time to add some more clay up the front of the dragon, filling in all those areas that I don't want. And now for the chest, I'm going to create these large scales that are V-shaped, and these are just going to overlap each other as they go up the front of the dragon. And I'm just starting the bottom ones first, and I'll get to the other ones later on in the video. And then once I have that, it's time to start the arms. And to do that, I just rolled out a piece of clay, and I'm sort of forming it there, and then putting it in place like that. And then the same thing on the other side. Blending everything together, making sure it's nice and smooth. Alright, now I'm removing some clay from the back of the dragon now so that I can attach the tail. And I'm just going to attach the tail with masking tape and then cover the whole thing with clay. But first I'm going to cover the tail in clay, and then I'm going to attach it because that's a lot easier and it makes more sense. So now we're just bulking out the tail a little bit, recovering all the areas that I previously exposed, arranging the tail a little bit, smoothing everything out, and now I'm going to create the back legs. Starting with this side, I created these the same way as I did the arms, just a little bit bigger. I will add more clay to it in a second to kind of beef it up a little bit. I'm just smoothing everything out, making sure everything is pretty anatomically correct. I'm not a dragon expert by any means. I did look at a couple photos, but I really wanted to leave most of it to my imagination, but I did need to look at pictures to figure out how to make the legs. And that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to create the scale texture on the back of the dragon using this arrowhead shaped tool, and I'm just creating a ton of little impressions with it to create those scales. And I really like this effect. It looks way better once it's painted, so just hold on, you'll see. Alright, now for the wings already. This is the second set of wings that I've done, but all I did, the first one was just a big disaster. I don't even want to show you, it was so bad. But basically I just bent out some 12 gauge aluminum jewelry wire to the shape of the wing that I want with some excess in the front for when I attach it. And then I just folded a piece of clay from my pasta maker over that, cut it out, and now I'm just adding the other bones within the wing. And then I do attach the wings off camera. I apologize, it was really hard to film and put them on at the same time because they were so big and wobbly, so I just kind of did it. It wasn't anything crazy. All I did was take that excess wire that I left myself and wrapped it around the giraffe's neck. And then I cover that with more clay. So it really wasn't anything crazy, and I'm really glad that they stayed in place and it worked out really well. And now I'm just covering that with clay, like I just said. Blending everything out, making sure you can't see any of that wire and everything's just really embedded in there and it's not going to go anywhere. Now with these thrift store transformations, it's kind of hard because I can't poke wire or skewers into the object. This is glass, and like I said in another video, I don't want to alter the figure at all. That's my challenge. I want to use it basically as a guide for the arrangement of my final piece. Right now I'm just adding some more clay to the neck here, smoothing that all out. And then adding some clay to the head. Bye bye, Mr. Giraffe. And then the ears were a little bit tricky for me to do just because I didn't know like how to design the dragon's head around them, but it ended up working out and it just created these nice little pointy pieces on either side of its head. All right, now for the eyes, I pre-painted the backs of these 6mm cabochons like so, and I'm inserting them into the dragon into holes that I just made with my medium ball stylus. Now, these were also tricky to do because it was really weird to position them and make them not look like they're crossed. And as you can see here, they totally look crossed from the front. And I don't want a derpy dragon, maybe another time, but not this time. Yeah, totally crossed. So I end up finagling them a little bit and getting them into a position where they don't look crossed, and that took a couple seconds, but we're good. Now I'm just adding some more details to the head, like these nice brow pieces here, and just shaping everything out. This head was so much fun to sculpt. I just went nuts with the detail, and I had a lot of fun doing this part. Just adding some little cheek pieces here, blending everything out. And then I also attached the top of the mouth as well and formed that, and now I'm just creating this nice little small bumpy mohawk type piece down the front of his face that will turn into big plates on his back. And the plate that's on his neck right now is not going to stay there, so don't worry. I'm just using my tiny ball stylus to create a nice little texture in the eye area and different parts of the head. Now I'm creating the nostrils with 2 small pieces of clay that I'm blending together and then using a ball stylus to create the indent. Now I want to create some more detail around the eyes by poking little holes with my ball stylus and then filling them with a ball-shaped piece of clay like that, and it creates these nice little bumps along the surface that look really cool. And it's just another level of detail. You can never have enough detail with, or you can never have too much detail with fantasy stuff, in my opinion. And this is a dragon, so we're going to go all out with him. Adding another piece of clay to the chin there, making it pointy. And now I'm adding some plates down his back. Like that. Now we're finishing the chest area with some more V-shapes like that, layering them on top of each other and making them go all the way up the neck. And then as I reach the top part of the neck where the neck meets the head, I turn them slightly so that they are turning with how his head is turned, so it's not weird looking. You can see that there. Finishing up the rest, and now I'm adding a nice thin little piece of clay to separate the scales in the front from the scales on the side. Blending it all together, adding some more details with my ball stylus, and some more scales with that arrowhead shaped tool. Scales for days. It was actually kind of hard maneuvering this tool all over this thing's body, just because like the wings kept getting in the way and everything, so I was happy I was able to make it work. And I actually sculpted this entire thing and baked it once. I did not have to pre-bake anything on him, and that was really cool. Alright, now we're starting the hands and feet, and to do those, I'm just doing what you see here. Shaping out the fingers with my little color shaper tool, and attaching them with some bake and bond. We're just doing the feet the same way as the hands. They're just a little bit bigger and longer, and To attach the feet on this thing, I do have to create a nice little ledge on the rock so that the foot has something to support it, and it's not just like gripping the edge of it. It looked weird when I had it like that, so I wanted to give it something to sit on. And that's what I did with some aluminum foil that I then added clay to the top of, obviously, and blended that all in. I'm creating the separation from where the dragon's body meets the rock, and finishing off some more scales. Almost done with the scales. Almost there. And the hardest part with those is that they all had to be going the same direction. So that was a little tricky. Finishing some details on the hands there and feet. Positioning the tail and attaching that with Bacon Bond. And now I'm going to do a cross-hatching texture on the backs of the wings just to give them another level of detail and make it more interesting. And I'm just using my little dental tool there, creating a bunch of lines crisscrossing each other every which way. And then finishing off the detail on the rock. Now for the horns, I'm adding some Bacon Bond to the giraffe's horns that were there, and it took me a second to figure out what style of horns I wanted to do, as you can see there, but we arrived at this style. Now we're just creating the area where the horns connect to the head, detailing that with my ball stylus, color shapers, dental tool, and spoon tool. Some more details on the face. And now, at the request of you guys, I am brushing the entire surface with rubbing alcohol instead of clay softener. I'm gonna be honest here, I like clay softener better. I'm sorry, but if rubbing alcohol works better for you, then that's awesome. It's just not for me. I prefer clay softener. And you can't say I didn't try it, because I did. I spent some time brushing this with rubbing alcohol. And now he's ready to bake. And fresh out of the oven, he is looking great, and it's time for paint. I decided on a reddish orange color scheme for this guy, so to do that, I am painting the entire thing orange first, and then I'm going to go in with some other colors that you'll see in a second. There was a lot of shading that I did on this guy to really create some depth and dimension, of course. Painting up the wings. And this was actually a lot easier to paint than I thought it was going to be. So I love when that happens. And I can paint right over the eyes because they're glass, and I'm just going to scratch the paint off later. Now I'm going to create a dark red gradient on the dragon's back, like so. I'm starting off with a pretty medium tone reddish brown that's pretty close to that orange that I've already put down. And then I'm just going to work my way darker as I go. I don't want to start too dark. And there we see right there, I'm adding some darker red on top of that and just working that gradient and painting the backs of his wings darker red, like so, and then shading some areas. Now it's getting really dark. It's starting to look really cool. All right, now for the chest area, I want that to be yellowish orange, like that, and I'm just painting that and doing a little bit of a gradient effect too in the front where it's brighter, and then it gets darker on the sides, and then adding some highlights to the face there and all over his body. Like that. Highlighting the wings a little bit. Then making that even brighter. It's looking pretty good. Going back in with some more shading here at the bottom of his wings. And for this, I am using watered down dark red just because I don't want it to be super pigmented. I want to be able to work it a little bit. And then I just painted his horns black again because they had some orange on them. Now we're painting the rock gray. I figured gray would complement the orange, so I did that. Now I'm just dry brushing some lighter gray on top of that and then going over that again with some even lighter gray to really bring out that rock texture, and this is so satisfying to do. We're just adding some final painting details to this guy, shading everything really nice, getting him ready to be finished. And he's looking good. Now I'm just creating a nice little paint texture on the backs of his wings, just so it's not so flat, with some dark red again, and then just shading some more areas until it's exactly how I want it to be. Now I'm painting the claws black. Adding some final touches. And he's done! Our giraffe is now a wonderful, vibrant dragon. Let me know what you think of this transformation in the comments. And that's a wrap, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed watching this transformation, and just really quick, like, look at how big this thing is. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked it. If you did, leave a comment down below, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and then follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Ace of Clay, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.